Stolen inventions, Thomas Edison and the War of Currents, the truth behind the Tesla-Edison relationship. Who really won the War of Currents, AC vs. DC? In the late 19th century, the world was in the throes of a technological revolution. Factories belched smoke on the horizon, cities buzzed with the clamor of industry, and the darkness was being slowly but relentlessly conquered by electric light. But behind the glow of incandescent bulbs and the hum of new electrical machines, a fierce struggle was raging, a battle not only of technology, but of egos, ambitions, and visions for the future. This was the War of Currents, and at its heart stood two extraordinary men, Thomas Edison, the so-called Wizard of Menlo Park, and Nikola Tesla, the enigmatic genius from the Balkans. To understand the truth behind their relationship, and who truly emerged victorious in the War of Currents, we must travel back to a time when electricity itself was still a mystery to most. The late 19th century was an era when the promise of harnessing electricity for practical use was just beginning to shimmer on the horizon. Gaslights still flickered in city streets, and homes after sunset were enveloped in gloom. Thomas Edison, already famous for his phonograph and widely considered America's greatest inventor, was determined to change that. Edison's vision was clear: to bring electric light into every home and transform the world. In 1879, after countless experiments, he unveiled his incandescent light bulb, a device that could burn brightly and steadily for hours on end. But Edison knew that the light bulb alone was not enough. To truly light the world, he needed a way to deliver electricity safely and efficiently to millions of homes and businesses. He chose direct current, or DC, as the medium for this grand endeavor. Direct current, as its name suggests, flows in only one direction, like water moving through a straight pipe. It was reliable and, in Edison's eyes, safe. Edison built the first electric power stations using DC, supplying light to homes and businesses in lower Manhattan. Yet there was a flaw in this system. DC electricity could not be easily transmitted over long distances. Voltage would drop and power would be lost. To electrify a city, Edison's system required a power station every mile or so, a costly and cumbersome proposition. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, another current was gaining attention. Alternating current, or AC, could reverse its direction many times per second. With the development of transformers, it became possible to step up the voltage for long-distance transmission and then step it down for safe use in homes. AC could travel hundreds of miles with minimal loss of power. However, it also came with dangers. Higher voltages could be lethal, and the technology was less familiar to the public. Enter Nikola Tesla. Born in what is now Croatia, Tesla was a visionary inventor with a mind teeming with ideas. He was fascinated by the possibilities of alternating current and believed it held the key to electrifying the world. In 1884, Tesla arrived in New York with little more than a letter of introduction and a head full of dreams. He went to work for Edison, hoping to contribute to the great man's electrification project. The relationship between Edison and Tesla would become the stuff of legend and myth. Many tales have been told of Edison promising Tesla a lucrative reward if he could improve the performance of Edison's DC machines, only to renege on that promise. The reality is more nuanced. Tesla was indeed hired by Edison's company to work on improving electrical systems, and he did suggest significant improvements. But the two men could not have been more different in temperament and philosophy. Edison was pragmatic and relentless, a man who prized hard work and practical results above all. He was known for his tireless experimentation, often relying on trial and error rather than theoretical models. Tesla, on the other hand, was a dreamer and a theorist, a man who could envision complex machines entirely in his head before building them. Where Edison saw the world in terms of incremental progress, Tesla saw leaps of imagination. The professional relationship soon soured. Tesla's suggestions for moving toward AC were dismissed by Edison, who was deeply invested, both financially and intellectually, in DC. Edison is said to have quipped, "We are not interested in alternating current here." Disillusioned, Tesla left Edison's company and struck out on his own. He toiled in poverty for a time, digging ditches to make ends meet, but his belief in the promise of AC never wavered. Tesla's fortunes changed when he found a new ally, George Westinghouse, a successful inventor and businessman who recognized the potential of AC. Westinghouse bought Tesla's patents for the AC motor and transformer, and together, they set out to prove that alternating current was the future of electricity. What followed was a battle that would be remembered as the War of Currents. Edison, determined to protect his DC empire, launched a public relations campaign to discredit AC. He argued that alternating current was dangerous, capable of electrocuting anyone who came into contact with it. In a bid to sway public opinion, Edison even staged gruesome demonstrations in which animals were electrocuted with AC to show its lethal power. These spectacles were intended to instill fear and doubt, and they succeeded in capturing the public's attention. But the technical advantages of AC could not be denied. The ability to transmit power over great distances was a game changer. Westinghouse and Tesla's system won contract after contract, most famously the contract to illuminate the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago. The dazzling display of electric light, powered by AC, awed millions of visitors and proved beyond a doubt that alternating current was not only feasible, but superior for most applications. The ultimate vindication for Tesla and Westinghouse came with the harnessing of Niagara Falls. In 1896, the first major hydroelectric power plant using AC generators began transmitting electricity from Niagara Falls to Buffalo, New York, over 20 miles away. It was a feat that direct current simply could not match, and it marked the beginning of the end for Edison's DC system. Yet, even in victory, the story is more complex than a simple tale of good versus evil, or right versus wrong. Edison was not a villain, nor was Tesla a saintly martyr. Both were driven, flawed, and brilliant in their own ways. Edison had built the foundations of the electrical age. Tesla and Westinghouse had scaled it to new heights. The question of stolen inventions is one that has dogged Edison's legacy for generations. Critics have accused him of appropriating the ideas of others and taking credit for their work. It is true that Edison employed hundreds of researchers and engineers at his Menlo Park laboratory, and that many of his patents were the result of collaborative effort. The modern concept of the lone genius was, in many ways, a myth even in Edison's time. Innovation was, and remains, a collective endeavor. In the case of Tesla, however, the story is different. Edison did not steal Tesla's ideas. Rather, he dismissed them, to his own detriment. Tesla's vision of a world powered by alternating current prevailed, not because Edison suppressed it, but because AC proved to be the more practical solution for a growing nation. The War of Currents was not merely a technical dispute. It was a clash of philosophies. Edison represented an older, incremental approach, grounded in empirical experimentation and commercial pragmatism. Tesla embodied a new, theoretical approach, one that saw electricity not just as a force to be tamed, but as a boundless ocean of possibility. In the end, the world needed both perspectives, a foundation of practical achievement and the spark of visionary imagination. But who then really won the War of Currents? If victory is measured by the technology that powers our lives today, then alternating current was the clear victor. The vast majority of the world's electrical grids use AC transmission, enabling power to flow from distant power plants to homes, businesses, and factories across continents. The inventions of Tesla and Westinghouse became the backbone of modern civilization. The demonstration at the World's Fair and the success at Niagara Falls were turning points, and the adoption of AC became unstoppable. Yet, direct current did not vanish entirely. It remained useful for certain applications: subways, telegraphs, and later, electronics. In recent years, advances in technology have led to a resurgence of DC in some contexts, such as high-voltage direct current (HVDC) transmission lines for moving electricity over exceptionally long distances with minimal loss. Even in the world of computers and renewable energy, DC has found a renewed purpose. The War of Currents also left a lasting impact on the reputations of the men involved. Edison's image, once that of the heroic inventor, became tarnished by stories of ruthless business tactics and public stunts. Tesla, largely forgotten in his own lifetime, has been resurrected in popular culture as the misunderstood genius, the man ahead of his time. In truth, both were complex figures, shaped by the world they inhabited and the challenges they faced. Perhaps the greatest tragedy of the War of Currents was that it pitted two brilliant minds against each other, when their talents could have been complementary. Edison's determination and organizational skill, paired with Tesla's visionary genius, might have accelerated the electrification of the world even further. But the forces of competition, pride, and the relentless drive for profit set them on opposing paths. As the 20th century dawned, the electric age was in full swing. Cities sparkled at night, factories hummed with activity, and the boundaries of human achievement were expanding at an unprecedented pace. The War of Currents faded into history, but its consequences shaped the modern world in ways that are still felt today. What, then, is the truth behind the Edison-Tesla relationship? It was a relationship marked by brief collaboration, followed by rivalry, and ultimately by mutual disregard. Tesla respected Edison's achievements but chafed at his methods and his unwillingness to embrace new ideas. Edison, for his part, admired hard work and practical results, and saw Tesla's theoretical approach as impractical and even threatening to his business interests. Yet, there is a certain irony in their fates. Edison would see his DC system eclipsed by AC, while Tesla, despite his triumph in the War of Currents, would struggle financially for much of his life. Both men contributed immeasurably to the world, but neither would be fully satisfied with the outcome of their endeavors. The War of Currents also teaches us important lessons about innovation and progress. It reveals the dangers of clinging too tightly to established ways and the necessity of embracing new ideas, even when they challenge the status quo. Edison's refusal to consider the merits of AC delayed its adoption, just as Tesla's inability to navigate the world of business limited his own success. In the end, the victory of AC over DC was not just a triumph of technology, but a testament to the power of vision, collaboration, and perseverance. It showed that progress often comes from the interplay of competing ideas, and that the future belongs not to those who defend the past, but to those who imagine what might be possible. Today, as we flip a switch and fill our homes with light, as we power our devices and connect across continents, we are living in the world that Edison, Tesla, and their contemporaries helped to create. The currents they unleashed continue to flow through our lives, carrying with them the hopes, dreams, and ambitions of all those who dare to invent. So who really won the War of Currents? In a sense, we all did. The world became brighter, smaller, and more connected. The competition between Edison and Tesla drove innovation at a pace that transformed society. The truth behind their relationship is not a tale of theft or betrayal, but of rivalry, ambition, and the relentless pursuit of progress. As history moves on, new currents will arise, and new battles will be fought. But the lessons of Edison and Tesla remain, that invention is born of passion, that progress demands both vision and perseverance, and that the brightest ideas often emerge from the clash of opposing forces. In the end, perhaps the true victory lies not in whose current prevailed, but in the enduring legacy of invention itself, a legacy that continues to illuminate the world, one spark at a time.